Though the weather outside is frightful because it's still so freaking hot out. And the rain, it likes to come and go. Oh, let it snow. Where's the snow? Where's the snow? San Diego doesn't know what season it's supposed to be in right now. No idea. Hello, hi friends, welcome back to my channel. If we haven't met already, hello, hi, my name's Quinn. It's very nice to meet you. On my channel, I like to do videos centered around finances and bullet journaling. So today, I am finally doing another bullet journal one. I didn't set one up last month. I was in such a rush. Crazy month. So I'm going to be doing December's bullet journal spread, going through it, changing things up just slightly from how I normally do. But what is normal nowadays? Who knows? Everything's a little different. So sit back, relax, grab yourself a little snack, grab yourself a tasty little beverage. I have some coffee that has been now cooled down because I've been slowly drinking it all morning. And let's just get right into the video. Alright, so getting started with everything right here, my bullet journal of choice is a Scribbles That Matter. I got it off of Amazon here. It is a dotted grid notebook. It's, I think, the size A4. The pen that I love to use is a Pilot G2, the .05 to be exact. The markers that I like to use are Crayola washable super tip markers, and then the eraser that I use is also a Prismacolor eraser. So getting into the first opening spread of December, I laid everything out already with pencil here because I found that if I'm not doing it with pencil and I'm doing it really loosey-goosey, that I end up messing up a lot. So the first thing I'm going to do here is go back over all of the pencil markings that I did and erase as much as I can. So to do a faux kind of calligraphy here with just these super tip markers, you're going to use the pointed end to do the thin lines, and then as you pull down, you're going to want to pull your marker to the side so that way you're using the flat end, and that creates kind of a thicker line. Also, a big tip when it comes to doing any kind of calligraphy, whether you're using an actual calligraphy pen, which I've yet to use, or if you're doing faux calligraphy like I'm doing here, lifting your pen in between each stroke helps a lot to maintain the nice, beautiful structure of it. And then I'm just going back in with a gray to create some drop shadows here. Of course, going back in with my love of drop shadows. And then on the left side of my page, I love to have a little quote. This is a quote that says, "May your days be merry and bright." I initially basically made this entire spread on a chalkboard about a year ago for my parents in their home, and I just decided that I wanted to recopy it into my own little bullet journal here. So at the top, I'm just doing a banner. Now this looked a lot different on a chalkboard, and I tried to recreate it as much as I could here, but this does just look a whole lot better if you do own your own gel white pen. I don't have one. That is the next thing on kind of my whole calligraphy stationery pen collection that I want to get. But this is kind of my way to MacGyver my way around it. So I'm just outlining the letters that I had already written down, kind of creating a bubble type of font, and then coloring all around it with the gray marker. I of course go back in to clean up any of the little marks that I have there to make it to where the letters are just a bit more legible. I wanted to incorporate my blue here, so I used it as kind of the back end of the ribbon, so that way it seems like it was the back part of the ribbon. And then I went back in with my pen to kind of outline a bit more of the letters, so that way they pop a little bit more outside of the gray. Now this is a font that I love to use. I've used it so many times in my bullet journal. It is just a heavier, thicker line on the left. If you ever want to look up some great fonts to use, just go on Pinterest, or you can even look up some calligraphers or letterers yourself. A lot of them do have some amazing videos here on YouTube that really go through teaching you how to actually do their lettering that they do, like Stefan Kuntz here on YouTube. I go through and use him as inspiration all the time. So I just did Mary basically in the same way that I did December. and did a gray drop shadow there as well, and then outlining a little and here with the pens. I do plan on going back in later once the pen ink has dried and filling in those empty spots with some color, so we'll see that later on there. I did choose to do a bit of a different font for Bright just to make sure the entire thing was thick. And then to add in some doodles, I'm really excited with this little snowman that I made here. If you want to do a snowman, you can do a nice and classic snowman with the 3 circles, but I wanted to look a little bit more realistic and as if somebody just kind of piled him up together and made him a little bit of a dump. And then on the right, I like to have a little tiny month at a glance. Honestly, I never ever use this. I never really go back and look at this, but it is really nice when I'm going back through and I'm looking at the entire month as an entirety, as a bullet spread. To see that little month at a glance at the front, it just ties it together really nicely. So I'm putting the weeks at the top in a little banner and then just filling in the days. And then I wanted to doodle a little lamppost as if it's just shining bright through the snow, which I never get being here in San Diego. For this lamppost, I just looked up lampposts on Pinterest and just decided to draw what I saw. That's basically how I got that lamppost idea. So that is our front spread there. Once again, we're going to go back in once the ink from the pen has dried a bit more and fill it in with color. But on to the next one. The next spread that I'm doing is a month at a glance. What I normally do previously is I've had my month at a glance only take up 1 page, but I wanted this to be a full spread this month. I have a lot of things going on this month with planning a wedding and then getting ready for Christmas and a bunch of dog sitting, so I wanted a full page to be able to mark everything down. So once again, the same thing I did at the front spread when it came to the fake calligraphy with the green header and then the gray drop shadow. I'm making little banners to outline the days of the week here at the top, and then a little spot at the end specifically for to-dos. So for that week, I know I have little checklists of specific things that I need to do for mostly wedding planning for each week since I am planning everything myself. Crossing fingers and wish me luck, you guys. Just going in and marking off all the days. I really didn't space them out lengthwise, but going from top to bottom, I gave them each 5 squares, and it ended up working out perfectly. To make it a bit more festive, I went back in and I'm creating little wreaths to go around each number. First, I went in with the light green color because I find that the light colors have a really hard time popping up after you put down a dark color. So then I went back in with the dark green and went back in afterwards with the light green once again to create these kind of offset circles, so that way they're kind of messy but kind of cute. To incorporate the blue, I created little balls as if they're ornaments and then just put them around the wreath, either where the lines connected or just, you know, wherever I felt like it. And then I went in with the gray afterwards and created little bows at the top, as if that's where they're gonna get hung up. To incorporate some more blue into the spread, I just outlined the bottom of each of the banners at the top with the blue so that way they get a little bit of use. And then using my pen, I added in some snow star things at the top, just so that way there's a little bit more cuteness to it. And on to our next spread. So as As I said, normally I would have my bills on the left and then the month at a glance on the right, so that way I can compare them. But since I wanted to have a full spread dedicated to my month at a glance, I decided to put a wedding dump page next to my bills, so that way I can just write down any of the random thoughts that come to me onto one page here. I'm just using the same font that I did for Days B up at the front. And when it comes to my bills, the way that I like to track it is the date, the bill that's due, the amount, and then I write down whether I paid it or not. This really helps when it comes to my cash envelope stuffing to keep track of making sure that I pay my bills on time and making sure that I actually pay my bills. One month I didn't do this and I forgot to pay for my Wi-Fi, so that was very fun. And then once this ink dries, I'll come back in to color it in, but on to our next spread. So what I love to track, I don't do many trackers, but this is what I've been tracking since even before I started bullet journaling, was my spending log. I follow the cash envelope system when it comes to budgeting, and then I also make some cash tips as I am a server. So normally you could just track your spending through your bank account. That's really easy when you're just swiping your card, but when you're spending your cash, that one is a lot harder to track. So having my paper that I'm writing everything down on is really important to me, so that way I'm actually tracking everything. How I track my spending is I will write the dates, the store that I went to, what I bought, and then how much it was. After writing this page out, I realized I forgot to also include in the spot where I mark off whether I paid with my card or with cash, because that's something that I like to do to make sure that I'm not over swiping my card. And then just repeat everything on the right and onto the next page. It's basically the same thing, except it's just my income log. So I have 2 part-time jobs. I also do a lot of side hustles. So this is a great way for me to track to see exactly how much money I'm making from each job, see which one is my breadwinner job. It helps me compare month to month to see when the busy months are for me. But then on top of that, when I'm actually using my spending log properly, I can actually see how much I'm spending of my income and make sure that I'm not overspending my income. The months that I don't really track my income and my spending are the months that I tend to go over budget with a lot of things. So from income tracker, it's really simple. I just write the date, the job that I worked at, and the amount that I got, and whether I got paid through a check or with cash. And then on to our first weekly spread. So what I like to do in the corners is write just the first letter of the month in the same way that I did it up at the front. This is a great way for me when I'm flipping through the journal just to see what month I'm at and what I'm looking at. You can see right here what I'm talking about. It's a really fun thing just to kind of flip through. And then at the top, I'm creating another reef here, and I'm writing it around the days of the week that I'm using. Same as before, just a little bit bigger. I'm just going back in with my pen to outline the bow and add in some more of the little ornaments there. Now, how I actually lay out the days of the week changes week to week, just depends on how I'm feeling for that specific week. But this one, for the lettering, I decided to do it the same way as the other ones and then just lay it out like so. And the next thing I like to do is write myself a nice big space here for the to-dos of that week. I might not have a specific date in mind when I have a task that I need to do, but I'd like to write it right here so that way I make sure that that task is done sometime this week. On the right side of the spread, I like to have my cash envelope stuffing. You can go ahead and go through and watch some of my cash envelope videos if you'd like. But this is just a prime example of how important it is to kind of lay out the spread before you do it, because I ran out of space, as you can see right here. In this moment, I kind of decided, screw it, I'm just gonna write it. But I'm just going to go back in with a marker and create little drop shadows, and I guess decided to outline the E and the S there. So now that the pen has all hopefully dried, we're going to go back in and color everything in. I'm going to go through and erase some more of those pencil markings that are still left over, and also kind of test to make sure that the pen is actually dried off there. So at the top with the Days Be, I'm using the lighter green that I have, and I'm creating kind of a gradient pull down. As if you're drawing grass, you're going to start from the top and pull your pen up as you're drawing down. And then from the bottom doing the same thing, just the opposite way with a gray, so that way they kind of blend into each other. Where you put more pressure and add the thickness is where it's going to be darker, whether it's the green or the gray. And then I'm just going back in with the light green afterwards into the middle and blending it together more. With the and, I'm just filling in the entire side with green. And then for bright, this is the fun bit. So I'm creating a kind of dotted gradient down. So you're going to want to start from the middle. This is where you're going to put most of the dots, and then as you pull away from the middle, you're going to put the least amount of dots there. I like to start light-handed first and then go back in, going halfway through from where I went before, starting again from the middle. And then I like to go back in a third time. You can go back in as many times as you feel like you need. And this time going only a quarter of the way down. This does help a lot with the gradients, and so that way I'm not feeling like I'm putting too many dots in the same spot. And then just from the top, I'm creating kind of icicles, just drawing little lines. Not making it as gradient as I had before at the Days Be, but making it kind of icicle-y. Going in and adding some shadows to our snowman. And like I've done with all the banners before, just adding some blue at the bottom and then shading back in our lighthouse. Now this is the part where I wish I had stopped while I was ahead, but I decided I wanted to add more color and decided to add the blue on the side. Now, if you're using watercolors or if you're using colored pencils where things can actually blend out, this would be great. Go ahead and do it because it's kind of like you're adding some light. But I realized this doesn't actually blend, so it's just some weird lines on the side, and I'm not the biggest fan of it. I wanted to see if maybe the pen would help. It really didn't. But this was definitely inspired by the chalkboard that I had done before, where I was able to blend out the white chalk at the end, and it looked really nice. If I have a picture, I'll show you guys, but yeah, I'm not a fan of the marker bits that I did there. And then I'm just going in and creating all these little stars just to add some more little fun night sky. And then going throughout the rest of the page, I'm just adding the green and gray gradients to where I feel like it'd be most necessary, like at the bills and the wedding dump. Going in with this banner and adding the blue underlines, and since these letters were so small, I just filled in those empty spaces just with green. And then the exact same thing on the income log. Once again, filling in since these letters are so small just with the green, just to add some little pop of color. And that does it for the entirety of my December spread. And then we're just going to do a quick little flip through here for you guys. Okay, so that does it for my spread for December. I hope you guys enjoyed it. You guys got to see some of the mistakes that I made that I'm not the biggest fan of, but oh well. I really hope you guys enjoyed. It was really fun putting this all together and giving more thought into like the actual doodles and drawings I was putting into it. I haven't been able to actually really draw in my bullet journal a lot recently, so I'm excited to actually use it and use this new wedding dump page that I have in it. Let me know what you guys think. If there's anything else bullet journal related that you want to see or art related that you want to see. I do like drawing and painting and doodling, so if there are anything that you guys like to see, go ahead and let me know in the comments, and I can start making those type of videos as well if I have time, whenever I have time. But thank you guys guys so much for watching. If you liked the video, go ahead and give it a like. If you want to see more of my face and see me try to conquer the human race, go ahead and subscribe. You can find me at all of my social media at Quinn Kaylin. We can chat, become best friends. Sometimes on my story, I do some doodles on there, so you can see some more of the stuff inside of my Instagram if you want. Go ahead and check it out. Other than that, I love you guys oh so very much, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye! No joke, where I live right now, it is 75 degrees outside right now, which is why I'm wearing a tank top. I miss the snow, you know?